Hello everyone and welcome to Game 2 in a best of 3 series, WhiteRa versus ThorZain here on Metalopolis. Game 1 taking place on Shakura's Plateau. WhiteRa really just not playing up to snuff in that game. It looked like he seemed a little bit confused about the timings. ThorZain opening up with a very early gasless expansion on Shakura's Plateau, and then was able to fend off the early pressure from a Zealot and a Stalker. And because of that, able to take a very strong economic lead and then just mass up his bio army very quickly. We'll see if WhiteRa will be able to counter it this time around, or if ThorZain has a different strategy in mind. Now, one important thing to note, even though this is WhiteRa versus ThorZain, two very high level players, this is the BattleNet version of the map, not the tournament version of this map, where ally spawns are still very likely. Or, yeah, still very likely. 1 in 3 chance, as now you can see the supply depot being built over here by ThorZain. The first supply depot being close by, or built close by, in order to make sure that there is a faster mining time, and then perhaps building the supply depots a little bit further out later on. But WhiteRa doing the still standard. Oh no, he's gonna go ahead and try to check if this is gonna be a cross spawn first, and then I guess see if it's a close by air spawn, and then see if it is an ally spawn. Scouting in a rather unusual direction, so not quite sure what to make of this from WhiteRa, even though we can see a pretty standard build already coming in. WhiteRa now gonna set up a proxy pylon, or I guess a vent pylon here, making sure that if there is a drop, he is able to spot it. One of the issues with vents, though, is that you can see that this building over here, or these locations here, are still in the dark, so that is something you have to be careful with. And SCV now also doing another scout as well, so we'll be seeing what's going to be happening here in just a moment. The probe comes along the inside, and once again sees another gasless expansion coming in from ThorZain. So a rather unusual move now, as that probe just wandering around on the inside. The marine production is being slowed just a little bit, finally getting up that supply depot there. And then I believe he will be getting up another one, another marine in just a moment, as Zealots should be coming out. The Zealot, however, is not trained, so this SCV, taking a look around on the inside, knows that a Stalker will be coming out first, and now, once again, WhiteRa gonna be forced to throw down and get an early Nexus here, as ThorZain really opening up with a strong economic game, and now getting up a second barracks as well, and now finally getting into that gas. We should be seeing a bunker being placed down here in just a moment. There it is. There is that bunker that I mentioned, and now we are going to be going into an early Stalker. That Stalker will have superior range compared to those Marines, at least during the early portion of the game. The Stalker does also move significant or slightly faster than those Marines, so he may be able to kite in and get in a lot of damage as well, perhaps trying to delay and shut down that one SCV that is currently building that bunker. There's the Stalker. The Stalker now going to get some damage in, going after, dealing some damage to those Marines. The Marines, one Marine does get shut down there, so a very nice trade. An early Stalker losing only shields in order to shut down a Marine. That is something that a Terran player will do all day long. Or sorry, a Protoss player will do all day long against a Terran, as you can now see that this one Stalker is backing off just a little bit, and now letting those shields naturally recharge once more. A second Stalker now coming in. We are going into 2 additional gateways and also another Nexus. So WhiteRa being forced to expand right behind his opponent in order to stay in this game economically. That does mean that his pressure is not going to be nearly as effective, as you can now see a supply depot being built up on the high ground, Stim now being researched, Marauders being trained, and as soon as a Marauder jumps inside that bunker, I do not believe the Stalker will be able to engage against that bunker any longer, because the bunker does have a range of 7 with the Marauder in it, and on top of that, if concussive shells are researched, that's easily 3 to 4 shots of damage onto a Stalker before the Stalker is able to get outside of range. More sentries now coming into play, and the sentries really need to be the hero of this story in order for WhiteRa to get back in. WhiteRa didn't have enough sentries, and he didn't have enough utility on those sentries early on. If he was able to perhaps split up that Terran army a little bit further, during the early portion of the game, the Terran army would have been just completely destroyed as it was separated. We are now going into a Ghost Academy first before a factory. So we are going to have early Ghosts, and early Ghosts definitely a real big issue there as the Stalker now attempting to pull back. You can see 2 rounds of attack. SCVs are now looking out, trying to perhaps find the rest of this army here. As you can see, the Protoss army slightly smaller still in terms of minerals, but now larger in terms of minerals and in terms of gas. But this is a very, very well fortified position. Will WhiteRa be able to come in from the far side here and do damage to this bunker? That is a key question. If he tries to engage from this side here, all these units on the high ground will be able to continue to fire and deal more damage. WhiteRa perhaps going to set up a proxy pylon. SCV's now looking for this one probe. Does spot it, and now it's this job, the probe's job to back this off. And now you can see once again a much larger larger mineral army coming in from ThorZain with some natural base defense. We are now getting another round of Stalkers. No blink though, so he's not going to be able to micro those Stalkers back and forth. An SCV now destroyed, as ThorZain was perhaps thinking that something was outside his front door. 45 probes compared to 40. This pylon is now done. This probe trying to run a pie, and it looks like it will not be able to. Concussive shells about to be completed, as the Zealot's now going to finally walk down this ramp, and I think this is going to be a bad engagement here. You can now see the Marauders perhaps going to jump inside, Marines going to jump inside as well, and in come the Ghosts. The Ghosts may be able to go off an EMP Shockwave. Yes, there it is. There's another EMP Shockwave. SCV's not really able to do any repairing, but the Marauders going after sentries, able to shut down a lot of those sentries, and now continuing this counter push. Nicely done, and ThorZain just having the perfect answer to WhiteRa right now with Terran Bio. Terran Bio looks to be all within the immediate future, as we are now going into the infantry upgrades. I still do not see a factory. No factory, meaning no starport, meaning no medevacs at all, as the Marauders and the Marines are continuing their push. This proxy pylon was not spotted. Stalkers are in full retreat. The Stalker army is about half in size. About half in size. I would say 1,600 compared to 26. Or 1,900 now. The Protoss army is getting larger, as we do have one photon cannon here. Apparently, the Marauders and the Marines, once again, do not like Minx. Shooting down that Minx statue right there, destroying it. And now we are going to have more Zealots and Stalkers. And now a Chrono boost onto the armor upgrade, and also getting Zealots. WhiteRa does have 6 gateways up. He is going into that Zealot charge in order to engage into those Marines. Those Marines, however, will have level 1 weapons upgrade in just a moment. A Marine getting absolutely destroyed, as we are now expanding. So ThorZain feeling very confident about this expansion, as we are now getting another Zealot warping in on the low ground to try and keep track of this one command center. It does spot this out there, as we are now sitting at 107 food versus 94. So ThorZain playing very smart so far, and being very cold and calculating, taking his time. The expansion has been spotted. The Zealot now going after that SCV. Oh, the SCV may get taken down. Yes, down it goes. The Zealot deciding to back off, knowing that reinforcements most likely coming in. And wow, he tries to re-engage and just gets destroyed for his efforts. There is a Marine now sitting at about the 5 o'clock location here. A Nexus is being warped in as well. Army combinations. We can see that WhiteRa is once again able to get back into the army game. Will he be able to deal enough damage is the key question still. I do believe we have the Templar Archives, but Psystorm has yet to be researched. And also, without anything else, without Psystorm, he's not going to really be able to handle the bio once more. The same thing that happened in the last game could once again happen this game, as the level 1 weapons upgrade has been completed. Level 2 infantry, level 1 armor upgrades now coming in as well. And why go for that Templar Archives if you do not plan to research Psystorm? That is a bit of an issue, as the factory now getting shot out of the sky. It looks like it will get taken down, burnt to a crisp. And I'm not quite sure what WhiteRa plans to do. He is sitting on a lot of gas, and he could really start this research now. No, going into High Templars first. So, and now merging them into Archons. So going straight into Archons. And this is one of those questions where, why don't you go for Dark Templars instead if you want Archons? It is nowhere near as gas intensive, and you really need that gas in order to do anything else. We are getting that Twilight Council here. We are getting this one Warp Gate here. As the probes are now making their way down off to that low ground, perhaps we will start transferring some drones, or sorry, some probes over. 57 versus 67. 4 mules in play. A strong economic lead by ThorZain, as he also has double refineries up already, so he's going to have a significant gas lead, as the gas is now just coming up for WhiteRa. It looks as though ThorZain, still sitting on 1-0 upgrades, a massive bio army, does have a lot of marauders, and now going into robotic space. So it's like he's going all over the place. He doesn't really quite know how to handle and how to deal with this massive bio army. The Marines and the Marauders once again on the move. It looks like level 2 weapons upgrade will be completed in just a moment, and that will be the perfect opportunity for ThorZain to hit. Another pylon will get destroyed. There it goes. More pylons need to be warped in as well. The robotics bay is just now completed, as more and more of this Terran army does not like the Mink statues once again taking them down. Zealots, sentries, and stalkers still wandering around here. That robotics bay is hidden down off over here. Immortals now being added, and WhiteRa floating a lot of resources, close to about 1,200 at this time. So this is not in a position where you want to be, behind an army, and now in comes the engagement. There's a force field, but not enough. The Zealots not even really engaging there. Was waiting for a Psystorm. That would have been very, very easy to Psystorm this massive bio army after a couple of force fields. Zealots now engaging Guardian Shields, Marauders, or sorry, Archons now leading the way. The Archons being used to try to shut down the rest of this Marine bio army, but still not enough. Level 3 weapons upgrade. The Marines and the Marauders are 2-0 upgraded, and both sides engaging. It looks like the Marauders and the Marines will be able to finish off this fight, shutting down the sentries, perhaps shutting down more of these stalkers. Superior upgrades, and plus with really no way to deal any AoE damage, WhiteRa may have to tap out. There is now 100 food difference, and there's the GG coming in from WhiteRa, giving the well played. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 3 series, WhiteRa versus ThorZain, Game 2 taking place here on Metalopolis.